So the conversation continues, and we want to welcome our audience on KTN Home who've joined us now until the top of the hour. Thank you very much for tuning in to KTN Home. This is Spice FM. The show is the Situation Room. With you in the studio every morning is CT Muga, Nduoko, and Eric Latif. Today, because schools are reopening this week, we're giving a lot of focus on the education sector. The past hour, we were talking about bullying in schools. Now let's talk about schools reopening and the one big headache that very many parents, especially those in urban centers that take children from one part of the town to another part of the town to school, face as a headache. And this is the issue of school transport. So there are very many schools, especially private schools, that have buses that are used to ferry children to school. You pay a premium to get your child onto this bus. Others who basically carpool. So somebody within a certain neighborhood has come up with this business and they call it the school transport business. They've bought some vans and they say, all right, so I take children in this particular direction. So if you'd like your children to basically enjoy this service, you pay a certain amount of money and I'll be dropping your children to school and then picking them up and bringing them home. So you sort of have some sort of trust because this is a private enterprise that you're paying to. And you already know the proprietor of this. Most of the times, the proprietor will tell you, will be the one who's coming to seek your business. And this is somebody that you then develop some kind of trust with. Others will put their children in public transport. Well, not public, in matatus. Get onto the matatu, go to school, come back in the evening. For very many years gone by, that's how children in Nairobi used to go to school. You either walk to a nearby school, or if you're going to a distance a bit further from here, take a bus, go to school and come back in the evening. Times have changed. And now school transport is something that is becoming a big issue. Now, there are very many private enterprises that have come up playing around or operating around the school ecosystem. We have seen those that have come up, especially around colleges and universities, offering dormitory services and hostel services. We have seen that those that are offering transport services, schools mainly offering transport services, and then private sector offering transport services. One of them joins us this morning offering school transport business and services. Ronald Mahondo is the Chief Executive Officer of Maramoja Transport. Ronald, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us. Welcome to the Situation Room.
Thank you for inviting me to your program.
Now, tell us about Maramoja Transport. I hear Maramoja and I can just imagine what you mean is chap. Quick, fast.
Yeah, you've actually gotten it right, sir. We are Maramoja Transport, location-based taxi app with a difference in the sense that we are community-driven.
Okay.
That's jargon.
Let me rephrase the question. Okay.
Yes.
It's Uber for schools.
Thank you. Yeah. So it's not necessarily Uber for schools, but we are a taxi app that enables users to actually be able to find their personal drivers and their friends' personal driver. So the key difference which we have is we are driven by trust, where users are able to actually curate the drivers that they like, know or trust, and then anytime they want to move from one point to another, they're able to find them if they are available. We've currently been focusing on corporate, so schools is one of the things which we are now venturing into.
Okay, so it's like the private taxi services that would then be contracted or work around a certain organization. So, for example, the Standard Media Group requires a lot of transportation back and forth. So you position your vehicles around there and the people around this organization already know the cab guys.
Exactly. So it's more or less like that. But you can also, as an individual, apart from a corporate, be able to curate the people that you like, know or trust in the application through a touch of a button. And anytime you want to move around, you can use them.
Okay, so how exactly does this work, especially for school transport? If you can walk us through it. I have children I want to take to school in the morning and I want them to be picked up in the afternoon. How does this work?
Yeah, so in this solution, what we've tried to do is we've tried to answer two main questions and challenges which people face. The first one is, do you want to sacrifice your convenience for safeguards, or do you want to sacrifice your safeguards for convenience? So our solution, what it does, different from any other, is that you're able to curate the person that will actually be carrying your child, and then you're also able to set the time that you want your child to be picked from home and from schools. And then what we do is we're able to map how the vehicle will move around, in the sense that our main priority is to make sure that your child doesn't spend too much time on the road. And as you proceed, one thing that we also try to do is that you'll always get the same driver every day to be ferrying your child from home to school and back.
Okay, but looking at the detail of this, Ronald, so I'm sitting at home and I have kids who want to go to school, who need to go to school. So must I have scheduled this the day before? Because traffic, I mean, look at this morning, for example, is an absolute nightmare. And my kids are going to school, 10 kilometers from where I am. 10 kilometers in Nairobi traffic could easily be an hour and a half. So what am I then asked to do? Am I scheduling this transport the day before? Am I actually doing it in real time like I would a hailing cab app? What exactly must I do?
Yeah, thanks for that. So what we've done is, for this solution, for convenience sake and planning, it's all scheduled. So what happens is, parents who are interested, they go to our website, maramoja.co.ke, and then they're able to register. Once you register, someone will get back to you and actually allocate a driver and a childminder for your kids. And we'll also plan with you the pickup time, both in the morning and in the evening for your kids.
And this is available across the city? Are we looking at Nairobi, or are we looking at around the country?
No, currently we are looking at Nairobi. We piloted that last term, where it was very successful, with around four schools and around 40 parents. So this time we are scaling across the city, and hopefully soon we'll be across the country.
Okay, so then I guess another important question for parents is the cost. So you charge a premium if you're pre-scheduling these trips? Are you charging a premium, and then are they paying on the day, or are they paying in advance, or are they paying after the fact? How does this work?
Yeah, so it's actually not a premium. What we've tried to do when we are developing this solution is to able to pass some of the advantages that we've been able to accrue over the years serving our corporates, and to pass them through to the parents and school children. So what you'll find is our cost range from 6,400. That is for a school that is nearby, around 3-kilometer radius, and it scales to that level. Maybe for comparison purposes, for instance, a parent who's coming from Donholm to the CBD, it will cost around 12,000 to 14,000 shillings for the whole term. So the thing that has enabled us to be able to price ourselves very competitively is that we are just maximizing the use of our assets. We currently have over 26,000 drivers who are vetted, registered in our platform. And what we saw is that there's a big challenge and a big gap when you look at this ecosystem and market in terms of the people who are actually forced not to take their kids to schools that they prefer, because the schools are a bit far, probably out of the radius which the school bus are operating, or for other purposes. So what we've tried to do is to fill this gap and give parents a solution, and also give them safeguards that they actually need when you're dealing with children.
Okay, so I think so are you putting children from different areas in one vehicle, or are you able to do it so that everybody kind of gets their own vehicle? I mean, are you following the carpooling method with this? So as you map, as somebody schedules, I have a trip for today and I'm in this area, are you then able to intelligently map and say, so we have this certain number from this area, and then we can now plan the trips for the next day? Or Ndu comes along with my brood and I say, look, I want this transport, and then you cater for me? Or how does it work?
Yeah, so it's both. Our key priority is the child needs to use the shortest distance to school. So what we do is that we map children from the same location going to the same school, or from the same school going to the same location.
Okay.
And then they're able to pool, and then we're able to distribute the cost across. But our main priority is not to take the children around the Nairobi traffic trying to fill capacity. So that's what we are not trying to optimize for.
Okay.
Why work on a daily schedule? Why not work on a term schedule or monthly schedule? If my kids are going to school, they're going to school for the entire term.
Yeah, we actually work on a monthly on a monthly and a termly schedule. But what we do is that we allocate a childminder for your child and a driver who is dedicated and will be coming to carry your kids every single day. But also, we found like there are some organizations like schools who have approached us and said that, our school bus will not be available for this week or that other week, or some parents who have also approached us and say that, I'm traveling, I usually take my kids to school. Can you able to cater for them? We actually make provisions for that because we have the capacity to scale either way, scale upwards or downwards.
Okay.
So basically what we try to do is to try to use the advantages that we've been able to accrue over the years, being able to serve individuals to big corporates and to apply it to this problem.
So what kind of vehicles do you have? Is it saloon cars, minivans, buses?
Yeah, so we have different capacity vehicles, from saloon cars to shuttles. But what we try to do is we match the demand to the type of vehicle that we actually need. So there are some schools which you find, like the ones that we've partnered with officially, they have quite a number of kids coming from the same direction. So there we take shuttles. But then others which we actually fill gaps where the school bus cannot reach. There we send smaller vehicles, depending on the route.
So it sounds to me like your main target as a client is the school, not the individual parents. Am I right? No, it's actually both, because if you look at this problem, it's two-sided. For a parent, the biggest challenge that you have is your kid has to stand outside on a day like this, a morning like this, which is raining. They have to stand in the rain for whatever number of hours for the bus to come to pick them up. Otherwise, they'll not be able to catch the bus. Or otherwise, they may need to wake up very early at night, probably when it's still dark. If they are lucky, they'll be picked without standing in the rain for too long. If they're unlucky, that won't be the case. So what we try to do is for the parents to try to solve that problem at a cost that is comparable to what they're spending currently. For the schools, we've also tried to solve the problem that the school bus, as much as they're very convenient, they only work well in clusters. So if you find that your catchment area is not really well clustered, it becomes very uneconomical for you to actually take the bus all around, or it becomes very inconvenient for the kids.
Okay.
So basically the key person that we're looking at this point is the child, the welfare, in terms of how do we make their life more comfortable.
What I'd like to ask you, sir, is how exactly do you guarantee the parents, the security of and safety of their children? And how then do you also guarantee the promptitude with which this service is provided so that all the school requirements about time that is coupled with efficiency are actually met?
Yeah, so this, maybe I can just tell you a brief history of how we came up to this point.
Yes.
Around when the corona issue started, we quickly came up with a product for our corporates where we're able to bring their staff to work and take them back home. When the schools were open around January, quite a number of the corporates we are actually offering these services to approached us, and they were like, you actually do a very good job moving my staff. Can you do that for my children? It quickly started, the demand actually grew through word of mouth, where we ended up signing up around 4 schools moving around 40 individual parents last term. And through that process, there are a lot of lessons which we actually were able to get. And we've actually applied most of them currently. One of them is that we actually noted that it makes a lot of sense to be able to match drivers to actually the students. What actually that helps is that the schedules are actually very much easier to manage. And the application, actually, that is what it's built for, in the sense that users are able to choose whoever they want to ride with. Then secondly, all our drivers are vetted, and also parents are able to get recommendations within our application.
When you say vetted, what do you mean?
So vetted, there's usually a process which we use when onboarding our drivers, which includes them bringing the relevant documentations, which we actually go back and check, including their criminal history, their driving history, and stuff like that. And even further, beyond that, there are actually recommendations within the application, which individual users are able to give recommendations. And those recommendations are very contextual, in the sense that you find a parent is able, you as an individual, to give a recommendation about a specific person, and people within your network are able to get that recommendation, which are very contextual and very relevant at that point. So we use all these systems in order to be able to enable people to ride with people that they actually know, like, or trust as much as possible. But we also enable them to discover wonderful drivers from our ecosystem who they can be able to develop a long-term relationship with.
Very interesting concept there. Ronald Mahondo, the CEO of Maramoja Transport, thank you very much for joining us this morning and for all the information that you've shared with us.
Thank you for allowing me to come and tell our story and inviting me to this program.